So nobody likes a bad storm, right? You know, the occasional rain on a tin roof, you bet. Good cup of coffee, we can do that. But nobody likes a bad storm. And that was true for the boys. What boys am I talking about? I'm talking about Jesus' boys, the disciples. There's a interesting story as we go through the Gospel of Matthew with you guys on Monday nights. There's an interesting story that shows a lot about Jesus, and it shows a lot about the disciples, but it really is applicable to us. In Matthew chapter 8, as he got into the boat, his disciples followed him. Suddenly a violent storm arose on the sea so that the boat was being swamped by the waves. I'm out already, and if I can't see both shorelines, it's too big a lake for me. But they were mostly fishermen, so that was what they did. But in the middle of all that, what's these 3-4 words? But Jesus kept sleeping. Jesus kept sleeping. So the disciples came and woke him up. Lord, save us, we're going to die. And he said to them, why are you afraid, you of little faith? And then he got up and he rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. Nice. The men were amazed and asked, what kind of man is this? Even the winds and the sea obey him. There's interesting things that we pick up about Jesus. Number one, we believe that Jesus was fully God, but yet fully human. And we see that because he was tired. He wasn't sleeping in the bottom of the boat just because that was something that was expected, or he was leaving a good example for humanity on our health and mental illness. That's not why he was doing it. He was exhausted. How do I know? Because when I read back and I turn these pages, Jesus had been awfully busy. There was lots of miracles that he had already performed, and there were so many people that were trying to get to Jesus all the time. And so he was exhausted. Another thing that is so interesting about this particular passage is, I'm not saying Jesus was being kind of a smart aleck, but he did hold the guys accountable. You know what he said to them when they woke him up? He said, Lord, you're going to have to save us. He said, why are y'all such sissies? Why are you doubters? Why don't you have any faith? Now, and again, you got to go back and read. These boys had literally been watching Jesus perform all of these miracles and do all these crazy things that undeniably they were miracles. And so he held them accountable. Another thing about Jesus is that when he finally got up, he wakes up, the scripture says he rebuked. In other words, he got on to the waves and he got on to the winds, and they immediately stopped. Why? Well, heck, he created them and he was Lord. But that's not where the story ends. We look to the disciples, which really, I think we can all probably agree, the great application of this particular talk today is really about us. And there's 2 things. You ready? There is no way that we can live life without storms. And most of you guys that are listening to me right now, you're either in a life storm, coming out of a life storm, or about to go into a life storm. They're gonna happen just like here in Northeast Texas, we're in the middle of the storm, central. When it's March, we know this is coming. Unfortunately, that's the story of our life. We get in wrecks, we get in storms. But number 2, and don't forget this, how do you find success in the storms? How do you survive the storms? The same way they did. And they said 3 words: Lord, save us. Lord, save us. And so my question to you today is, when was the last time you said that? There's always a knee-jerk reaction to try and fix our own problems, fix our own storms, right? That's not the first step. So today, the bottom line is this. If you are a believer and you're going through storms and it's happening to you and you just feel wounded and beat up, Lord, save us. And then secondly and finally, if you're listening to this media today and you have never reached out to Jesus on purpose on your own, and you know you're at the point where you just can't do life on your own anymore, ask Jesus to save you. That's the bottom line.